Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reganelite's Viewpoint, episode 108, where we cover some of the latest news here. Welcome, everyone. I hope you guys find the background a bit different. What do you guys honestly think? Let me know down in the comments what you guys honestly think about that. Moving away, as we say, we know this is now the Reganelite Viewpoint, so no longer Snowflake anymore. Good evening, wee bud. Stephen Banker, good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. Didn't hear a thing. I should hope not. No, I was looking at some wrestling stuff as always. I'm always looking at wrestling stuff all the time. That's what it there's always stuff looking at all the time, all the goddamn time. Hope you guys are all doing well. The date of this live stream is the 14th of July 2025 at 8 AM UK time. Just for reference, we are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite, which is where most of you guys are. But some of you might be on twitch.tv/Reganelite1, which is on Twitch as well. So if you're on there, feel free to say hello as well down in the chat. Don't be shy. I know it's a quieter chat, but feel free to say hello. And also, if you're here on YouTube as well, don't be afraid to say hello as well, like Jao has just done, one of our moderators here. Good evening, Jao. How you are doing? How are you doing, my friend? Hope you are doing well. We got the top fans thing going on as well there. Like that as well. Very good. So yeah, so always leave some input and feedback, guys. It's always greatly appreciated. So actually, I've added in I've actually added too many stories in, but I want to before we do I even have a right format for this one? I suppose this one will work for it. Didn't really check. So guys, before we talk about stories in the UK. I have to talk about this, and I can't wait till tomorrow to talk about it because basically, all my family are a bunch of Chelsea supporters. So the fact that they were talking about this last night and I didn't pay any attention to it because you know me, guys, I'm not interested in football. I literally muted the WhatsApp group, and then it wasn't until the next day that I found out about all this guys. So let me share it with you. So I just pulled this from BBC Sport. So I thought Trump was going to exit the stage, but he wanted to stay. So yes, I kid you not, this has actually happened. So yesterday, Chelsea faced Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup final, and they won the match. This was in America. I don't know where the venue is, guys. If I'm absolutely honest. Oh, here we go. We'll read into it, but essentially, basically, the context of the story is right. Donald Trump was there. He got booed. He watched the match, was bored of it. But then when the celebrations were occurring, he went down there to present them the trophy. But as you can see from the picture there, Donald Trump didn't want to leave the stage. He didn't want to leave the celebratory area, and it was getting to a point where the players wanted to celebrate, but they were waiting for him to move, and he wouldn't move. Everyone was telling him to move, but he wouldn't move. So when they finally did the celebration, the FIFA president had to push him to the back so they could actually celebrate. So they had the big massive celebration with him at the front of it. So if you go online, you will find pictures and whatnot of Donald Trump there with the team, basically as they're celebrating this. And their top striker, I think it's Cole Palmer. There you can see clearly aggravated by the fact that Trump would not move, and he wanted to be part of the celebration. I don't know if he's been a Chelsea supporter all this time, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this: that if Paris Saint-Germain had won this, it'd probably be standing in the exact same spot. The fact that he was trying to hog the limelight from Chelsea was just absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you something a little bit at the end of this as well. So Chelsea Club World Cup celebrations were shared with an unexpected guest, US President Donald Trump. So following the 3-0 Blues victory over Paris Saint-Germain in New Jersey on Sunday, Trump presented the trophies to Chelsea captain Reece James before being invited to move aside by FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Yeah. However, Trump remained alongside James and goalkeeper Robert Sanchez as applauded as James lifted the trophy, staying in position for a few seconds before he and Infantino left the rear of the stage. He would not move. They wanted to do the big celebration, but he would not move until they did that. And it was only when that was happening that he finally was able to usher him out of the way here. Like, I know people have grievances about Chelsea Football Club and whatnot. That's fine. But we're talking about a football club here it's about them. It's about their moment, whoever it is, you know, and Donald Trump here trying to steal that spotlight. So the England international James said, they told me that he was going to present the trophy and then exit the stage. I thought he was going to exit the stage, but he wanted to stay. He just congratulated me and my team for lifting the trophy and told us to enjoy the moment. Cole Palmer scored twice for Chelsea. Scored twice for Chelsea in the final. Added, I knew he was going to be here, but I didn't know he was going to be on the stand when we were lifting the trophy. I was a bit confused. I will say, obviously, fair play. As far as I'm aware, fair play to the players and the team overall for not like going after Trump and being very careful about their language. And you need to be careful about it because you don't want to turn anything into a political and whatnot. And by the way, Chelsea Football Club is like, it is such a contrast to Donald Trump, the kind of president that he is and what he's doing in America, because there's so many different nationalities in that Chelsea team. It's insane. That I saw as well. It's just absolutely crazy. Like, they've got players from all over the world in that squad. It's not like, you know, and it's just like, you think if they lived in America, would they be okay? Yeah, it's just crazy. Conclusion revamped here, which included pre-match extensions. Trump wants Chelsea impressive victory. Long in view, Giovanni's a friend of mine. He did such a great job. Yeah, that it's just this moment here was just really few. So obviously when they did the celebration, right? I don't have it with me, but something that Chelsea Football Club actually did, which was very clever. Might piss off Trump a little bit. I'm sure that they won't mind. So what they did was, obviously they couldn't get. Obviously they were doing the whole celebration and everything. So obviously all the professional photographers and everything will take their photos. Donald Trump's in the picture. The power of Photoshop. So Chelsea Football Club removed in all of their official photos of the celebration, Photoshop Donald Trump out of every single shot. So if you actually go onto their website, they've actually cutted out Donald Trump out of all of them, just to have the team there. So yes, they cut out Donald Trump out of all the football celebrations, which was a fantastic move for them. But they only found out later on this afternoon about the story, really. But it's just absolutely insane. Like whatever you might think of Chelsea Football Club and whatnot, it's supposed to be their moment, their celebration. They won the match, and Donald Trump's trying to hog the limelight. And by the way, he was booed at the stadium when they were singing the national anthem at the start as well. He was booed when he came out in the stadium as well. So he clearly was not very welcome there. That is for sure there. But yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love the fact they photoshopped him out of all the official photos. It's just a real shame that he tried to put a damp squid on what was on the team. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you guys because technically it is a UK story because Chelsea are an English club, so technically it was one worth looking at. So this wasn't in my stories, guys, but I had to cover this one because I think this is really important. I just want to cover this just briefly before we go on to the rest of the stories. I haven't added it to the descriptions, but so a bit shoddy that Trump can't address MP, says Farage. So what is this about? Let me just explain, guys. So Nigel Farage said it's shoddy that Donald Trump will not have a chance to address Parliament during his unprecedented second state visit. It comes after it is announced that the US President will begin a 3-day trip on September 17th after the House of Commons breaks for traditional party press conference. The Reform UK leader said the cowardly timing of the trip showed that Labour's government was real priority was to favour relations with Europe. Downing Street denied the trip had deliberately been scheduled for the recess, saying questions on the timing were for Buckingham Palace. State visits, however, are traditionally organised in conjunction with government. Apparently I saw somewhere, I think it was, I haven't seen the video, but I think like from Rob Spears basically saying Farage is basically demanding a recall to Parliament so that Donald Trump can basically address the so that Donald Trump can address the parliament. And it's just like, no, we don't need him to address the parliament. Like, so apparently Nigel Farage has thrown a hissy fit about all this. Don't know why. I don't know why it's such a big deal. I mean, like, it's already bad enough, that he's getting a second state visit. Like, it's absolutely insane that he's getting a state visit. I'm petrified of opening this water bottle because it's so full of ice. Sorry, it's distracting me. But like, I just think, like, I'm glad that he's not getting a chance to speak to address Parliament, but I'm worried that they might try to turn this into a political football against the Labour government somehow, the likes of Farage and the right wing and whatnot. I'm sure that they will try to join it up in some way. Martin Briggs, good to see you there. Alistair Kier as well. Ellie, good to see you there as well. If I didn't see you guys in the chat, anybody else, feel free to say hello. Don't be shy. Do say hello over the chat. Hope you're all doing well. Wish you could Photoshop him out of real life. That's a bit more difficult. But yeah, I just think, Farage obviously just trying to stir stuff up as always, guys. He just won't go away, that guy. But I just wanted to cover that one there. Right, so the first proper story that I have for you guys. I'm waiting for the ice to melt from this before I can drink this. This is from Sky News here. So the BBC breached editorial guidance over Gaza documentary narrated by the son of Hamas official. The Gaza House of Survival war zone featured narration from a boy whose father had worked as Hamas's deputy minister of agriculture. Like here's the thing, like, editorial guidelines over the son of a Hamas official, and it's just like, this is this is so, like, annoying. Like, this, it just feels like to me it's just a big attention to just trying to really go at the BBC here. And don't get me wrong, like, the obviously we're annoyed at the BBC for obviously the Channel 4 documentary that they aired, that they took from the BBC, that was completely, like, pretty approved by the BBC for the whole period. Hospitals under attack. I believe it was hospitals under attack, and they just did not air that one. And this just kind of just, like, to me, it's just like anyone doing any kind of criticism, anything towards in Gaza or whatever, like, we will go after them. Like, this just feels like to me it's more of the Israeli lobbyists just trying to indulge their power and influence here. Mithril, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. It's a very big League Cup, with the footing the ball having been invented by me and not sleeping Joe. A big beautiful captain said to me, "Thank you, Mr. President, for being our #1 striker." Yeah, apparently he joked. He joked apparently. Well, he wasn't joking. He basically said, "Oh, I'll keep the trophy in my office." Like, I can just see Donald Trump literally taking that trophy and putting it in the White House, saying, "I earned that. I won that." And it's just like, no, Mr. President, you didn't win that. You just stole that from the football club that actually won it. Because that's what he would do. That's what he would do. So the BBC has said it breached its editorial guidelines by failing to disclose that child narrator of the Gaza documentary was the son of a Hamas official. A report into the controversial program said 3 members of the independent production company knew about the role of the boy's father, but no one within the BBC was aware. So we say. We don't know that for sure, though. The review was called the failure to bring the information to the BBC's attention a significant oversight by the production company. Something go down the wrong way there. The independent report commissioned by the corporation criticised the BBC team involved in the documentary for not being sufficiently proactive with initial editorial checks and for a lack of critical oversight of unanswered and partially answered questions ahead of the broadcast. Thank you so much, Alison Keir, for the £5 super chat. Hail the Democratic Penguins Republic! All hail! Scottish police got a big bill for Trump visiting Westminster for not going to pay a penny. Now it's extra money because of the PM2. Disgusting. You can try and charge him, but it's all going to come out of our taxpayer money, no matter what you do. He's coming to Scotland whether you like it or not, my friend. I'm sorry. And he is going to be playing on one of your golf courses. Sorry again, but it is going to happen, I'm afraid. I mean, feel free to make his life a living hell, but yeah, he is going to come, I'm afraid. Thank you so much for the £5 super chat. I really appreciate it. The BBC wants a reference for strict journalism today, considered like a voice piece of the lobby groups, even though documentaries are no longer popular. Yeah, I covered a video on Patreon today with regards to the BBC, about the BBC, and it definitely has lost its way because they're doing significant cuts as well. I know it wasn't on Patreon, it was on the main video I did today that dropped. Yeah, the independent report commissioned by the corporation criticised the BBC team involved in the documentary for not being sufficiently proactive with initial checks and a lack of critical oversight of unanswered or partially answered questions ahead of the broadcast. It described the background of narrator's fathers as critical information, which was not shared by the BBC before broadcast. While the report said there was no evidence to support the suggestion that the narrative father or family influenced the content of the programme in any way, it concluded the use of a child's narrator for the programme was not appropriate. Following the release of the report, media watchdog Ofcom said it would be launching its own investigation. Under rules, it states that a factual programs must not materially mislead the audience. Well, is it misleading the audience because they did not know of this information? Gaza: How to Survive a War Zone aired on BBC in February, but was pulled from the iPlayer after it emerged that a child narrator was the son of Ayman Azaruni, who has worked as Hamas's Deputy Minister of Agriculture. How to Survive a War Zone was made by independent production company Hollow Films and features 13-year-old Abdullah Al-Yaruski, who speaks about life in Gaza during the war between Israel and Hamas. The review was led by Peter Johnson, the BBC Director of Editorial Complaints and Reviews, who reports directly to the Director General Tim Davey. It found that a fee of £795 was paid for the narrator, paid to his sister. The report found that it was not outside the range of what might be reasonable in the context. The report did not name any individuals facing disciplinary action, but a new leadership role has been created in the BBC News documentary and current affairs, which the corporation says will be advertised in the next 7 days. And it will have to be, this is somebody clearly who will be, and favourability towards the Israeli lobbying group. So if it's anything that says anything bad about Israel, it will be no. I got a bit of water out of the ice. I got a bit of water out, guys. So I got a bit of water. Trump is the type to keep his prize with kids when the kids won the study and on his own. Yeah, he would do that. He would do that. While the BBC said the report found that Hollow Films did not intentionally mislead the BBC, the corporation said the independent production company bears the most responsibility for the failure. The broadcaster added that he also bears some responsibility. Been a tough day for the corporation, which earlier in the day saw an independent review into inappropriate behaviour by Master Chief presenter Greg Wallace uphold more than half the allegations against him. Yeah, I haven't read one or two of the stories I've been told about things that he's done, and he's tried to use his dyslexia or something as a means of why he did what he did. I mean, I just don't think it just doesn't wash with me, if I'm absolutely honest. Flagging a significant failure in the documentary, Mr. Davis said, "I am sorry for this failing." He said action will be taken to ensure proper accountability and also prevent such errors being repeated. The BBC board said nothing's more important than trust and transparency in our journalism. We welcome the actions the executive are taking to avoid this failing being repeated by the future. The Culture Secretary, Lisa Landy, said she was pleased the BBC had acknowledged catastrophic failures. I mean, how is it catastrophic failures? It's just okay, they didn't mention that he has connections, he has connections to Hamas here. I'm just it just feels anything of sorts that it just feels like any kind of crooks that they can take to have a go at people. I should point out I haven't seen the documentary myself as well, just for reference. She said she had several meetings with the corporation, and I believe they are acting now at pace to put in place measures to make sure this cannot happen again. Hollow Films takes the report finds very extremely seriously and also apologised. The company said it was working closely with BBC if it can find a way to bring back parts of the documentary to the iPlayer, adding our Gaza team risked their lives to document the devastating impact of war on children. Gaza: How to Survive a War Zone remains a vital document, and our contributors who have no say in the conflict deserve to have their voices heard. The BBC says he has no current or future plan commissions with the Hollow Films. Yep, they're not going to air it. They're not going to air it. They do not want. Israel are saying no, you will not air this. You will not give any reference to it now. Israel does not allow the international organizations to the Gaza report. And I don't think anything more to add here. I mean, this is the bit. This is the bit here. You're not getting that documentary back out. The only place you have to find it is on the internet now. So you'll have to look it up. If you want to see it now, you have to look it up now. Basically, that's the crux of it, I'm afraid. You'll see BBC documentaries up to 2010 or something, mostly about nature, but their political, historical ones are soiled and washed. Yeah, because they don't want. It's Israel trying to paint a different picture to people of what's really going on. That's the problem. Currently, I think only BBC docs on Portuguese TV are the ones about nature, says Jow there. To be honest, I don't give a fig who talked for the documentary, says Alison Keir. I mean, like, this is the thing, like it's just a narrator. Like, it's not about, like, the thing is, it's like, oh, because this person was related to Hamas, oh, we should never have done this documentary. How could you have let this happen? Like, it does raise the question of how they did not. I think, yeah, if I'm generally honest, it sounds like to me, based off this, it sounds like to me that they knew about the information, and the reason that they didn't intentionally show it because they needed the BBC to air it, and they didn't want to say anything until after, or if they found out after, it wouldn't matter. But they were so desperate, if they knew, for them, it was like, if we tell them, they will not air this, and this documentary will never see the light of day. And I think that was from their perspective, they were looking at it as like, we know that if they know about this piece, they're going to shut it down. But I mean, it got aired out. It got made public, at least. That's the good thing. My only hope is that I'm assuming the documentary is still out on the internet somewhere. At least I hope that someone got it on the internet somewhere. I mean, if you type it up, I'm sure it might appear on the YouTube channel somewhere if you look it up. If you are banned from criticizing someone or something, they are, or something or someone, they own you. It says Jow. Like Mr. Burns and the bowling trophy, says Ellie. Trump is that bad smell that just won't go away. Yep, that's true. Yeah, there's a bad smell that won't go away. That is definitely true. How's your face feeling now after the sting, Jow? What happened to you, Jow? You got stung somewhere? BB or sting or something? Sorry, am I missing the context? Sorry. Guys, let's switch gears. Let's have a look at this one from The Guardian. Just 1 second. Just noticed. Yeah, this is running fine. Okay. Just checking that this is still running fine. So, from The Guardian here, Labour have not implemented a single animal welfare pledge, says campaigners. So, bans on off-oil grass imports and hunting trophies are not brought in, while rules protecting chickens have been weakened. So, where are the animal rights? Where are the animal rights? That's the question. 100 lions shot by British hunters. So Labour has failed to implement any of its promised animal welfare policies in its first year in office, and also weakened protection for chickens, campaigners have said. Among the pledges that have not been implemented are banning the sale of animals with cropped ears, prohibiting imports of hunting trophies, and banning imports of foil grass. Some relate to the UK as a whole, others to England, Wales and Scotland, and the proposed ban on trail hunting just to England and Wales. Additionally, earlier this month, the Labour government laid an amendment regulation in Parliament to take effect on July the 22nd to remove a legal protection under European regulations that prohibits the carrying of chickens and turkeys by the leg, which causes pain and suffering. We covered this but in the past about the chickens and the suffering. My position is I want it to be as quickly as painless as possible for them here. So while obviously there's talks about the changing on the way how chickens and turkeys' lives are ending here, what are we doing about protecting animals here? So Eddie Bowles, a executive director of Animal Law Foundation, said, "As an animal lawyer, I have become accustomed to the disregard shown towards the animal protection legislation, whether that be broken promises around creating the much-needed improvements through to enforcing laws that are in place. In fact, the government's decision to dilute a legal protection for chickens and turkeys has laid bare something that could cause concern among anyone who cares about animals. The government has shown that should it ever become inconvenient to follow a law to protect animals, the government simply changed the law to allow the practice. The government has recognised that there is much evidence to suggest that upright catching the body of the optimum handled method to directly minimise welfare harm, but it's raised concerns about the cost implementations." So Clive Blass, the Senior Director of Campaigns and Public Affairs at the Humane World for Animals UK, said, "During a full year in office, the government has found no parliamentary time to introduce the promised stronger protections for animals, such a ban on hunting trophy imports." Really? Like, you really can't... I'm sure, like, you guys have had sessions on things that are much less serious. Doctor's under attacks. Yeah, that's the one by Channel 4, Aliston. Yes, that is. Billy Kershaw, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. And Counter Kev as well. Oh my god. Bottle in the freezer and then drinking from that. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Just sorry to rub that in. I needed that. I needed that cold water. Shortly before coming into power, Steve Reeves, the now Environment Secretary, promised the Labour government would deliver the biggest boost for animal welfare in a generation. As well as policies mentioned above, he said Labour would end illegal puppy farming and the smuggling of animals, including dogs, puppies and kittens, prohibit the importations of dogs and cats with fashion-based mutations, ban the use of snare traps, ban the importation of heavily pregnant cats and dogs, accelerate the phasing out of animal testing. Well, have they done any of this? Doesn't look like it. Notwithstanding the backing of Liberal Democrat MPs' private members' bill to ban lower welfare imports of cats, dogs and ferrets, the government has not introduced legislation to any of the pledges. Abigail Penny, Executive Director of Animal Equality USA, said that keeping political promises is the foundation of fundamental democracy and there is still time for the government to uphold its word, rebuilding dwindling public trust and act in line with the public will. The animals have waited for too long already. So DEFRA, the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, has said, we have wasted no time delivering the most ambitious plans to improve animal welfare in a generation. This includes improving animal welfare standards in zoos and plans to crack down on puppy smuggling. We will build on this progress by publishing an animal welfare strategy later this year. Okay. So, like the... What are you doing? I'm just trying to highlight this bit. I'm trying to highlight the bottom bit. Thank you. Can you just... There we go. Damn computer. So it says there they're going to have a welfare strategy later this week. Now, if you remember, they promised like a welfare strategy, when it came on poverty and child poverty. That's what they were doing. So they're basically like literally sitting there. Oh, can you send me that link on Discord, Aliston? If that is the documentary, so I want to have a look at it. If you can send that to me, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Just DM me on Discord. Thank you. Thanks for finding that. Appreciate it. Yes, sorry, getting distracted here. Obviously, they're saying they're cracking down on puppy smuggling and improving welfare standards in zoos, which I'm obviously all in agreement of. More needs to be done there, but I just like some of these ones here. Obviously, if we can see some of this enshrined into law, but their argument is obviously they're looking at an animal welfare strategy. They're supposed to be coming out this year, but it's kind of like another thing that kind of like kicking the can down the road sort of thing. But you know, rightfully so, campaigners are saying, hey, what are you actually doing? Can you talk to us? Like, you know, everybody's got problems, and animals too need to deal with their issues. And by the way, I've heard a story today. People were saying that the cost of living crisis is apparently over for us. We're no longer in a cost of living crisis, which I think is bollocks, because we're still in a cost of living crisis. People are still struggling out there. There is another documentary, but behind a paywall, you have to rent it. No, I won't do that. So no content from watering down human rights. They go after the animals. I don't think. No, I don't agree with that statement. I don't think they're going after animals there. It's just I honestly am just hoping that it's the case of they are going to go after it. It's just not a priority for them. There are bigger priorities. I'm sorry to say that for the animal lovers out there. Humans, unfortunately, are a bigger priority than animals. I am sorry to say that, but that is true. Who has to go press the like button, says we bud. What else is there? Very nice Labour just banning the selling of any kind of property or poultry derived products on the EU, says Jow there. Yeah, I mean, like this one here. Like, something should be done about British hunters. Like, we any hunters are from the UK that does this, we should do something to punish them, because if they're residents here in the UK, we should do something to punish them. Like, because this is just like, for me, it's just absolutely sickening. It really makes me sick here when I see stories like that. It just makes me turn my stomach, because people think it's perfectly okay. Well, it's not. I'll tell you someone who is not happy. Who has not been a happy bunny, has been Angela Rayner. Angela Rayner has been deciding to go on a tirade, and rightfully so, against the damn union breakup. How dare they kick her out of their union? So clearly, they have no idea just how upset she is, guys. Absolutely disgraceful. And she's going to vent her frustrations right here with you guys.
Right, I'm just doing a quick one about these unionists, okay, because I'm fed up. It's 120 degrees outside, I'm hot and bothered, and I'm trying to book a flight to Ibiza. I'm proper fed up. Unite, right, they say that they've suspended my membership because I've not done enough for the bin men in Birmingham. What are they on about? I left them ages ago. The relationship's been over for a while, mate. Get over it. You just fancy me. It's over. Move on. Also, I just want to point out, right, I did nothing wrong. Firstly, I'm working class. I love Birmingham. Secondly, I love bins. I use them all the time. Look. Oh, hang on. Is that recycling? Thirdly, I love men. Put the two together. Bin men. What's not to love? This is a load of old rubbish. Here I am, just been true to myself, right, while Unite just trash talk me. And you know what? I tell you, this whole thing is a bin fire, and I ain't having it. Oi, Unite, you want to get rid of me? Well, here's a strong one-liner. I refuse.
She refuses. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Trip, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. See Unite, binned Angela Rayner, tada. They literally binned her. They literally binned her. Like literally binned her. Absolutely terrible. She was binned and was put in the one-liner. Alex Adams, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Hope you guys got a bit of a laugh. Yeah, there he is. She got binned. Absolutely terrible stuff, guys. Oh dear, oh dear. It isn't too hot this week, I will say as well, guys. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't, hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't too already, guys. All that good stuff really does help support the channel as well. If you can do that stuff, that would be great. We've got 3 more articles here to go through. This one, obviously, very, very important. I think me and One Angry Pagan are going to have a very busy Thursday, talking a lot about the environment and climate, considering the temperatures that we are experiencing at the moment. So this one's from the Independent. Scrap exams in June because of hot school halls, experts have said here. So Baroness Brown said climate change means exams should be moved to cooler months. So they're talking here. There's a serious conversation, and I think rightfully there needs to be a conversation about it. And I say at the moment conversation about whether or not school exams should be moved. Now, I remember obviously back when I was doing my exams, and all you had was the rooms, and you literally had ventilation, and that was it. Now, if I'm absolutely honest, it's kind of sad that this is something that's been discussed when, if you step foot in a supermarket, they have air-conditioned, the supermarkets are fully air-conditioned, and it's a giant building room, and it's just like, why can't schools have air-conditioned classrooms or air-conditioned hallways where they can study comfortably? Why can't we do this? Oh, right, because we don't have unlimited money like private companies do, unfortunately. This is something that needs to be addressed, as obviously our adaptations are changing because of the temperatures and the warmer climates. Like us and others, we need to obviously adapt to them, and as the temperatures are going to be getting hotter, one of the two things are going to happen. Either A, we need to find hallways in class hallways for them to do their exams, where they're not going to get baked to death by the heat, and so they're actually able to concentrate. Or number 2, which is this option, which I don't want to do, is I don't agree with moving the moving the exams. But Baroness Brown is absolutely right saying that and the point here we're going to be reading is that it's not right that kids should have to do their exams in baking hot conditions. It's just going to distract them, it's going to put them off, and it's going to lead to them not being able to hit the right marks for them. If some of them want to be the best, and they got to do it in scorching hot temperature, even with drinks and fans or whatever. I mean, what's the alternative? What, you put giant fans around them to try and help them keep them cool? Like, there's only so much of that they can do. So this is a real cause for concern, and the government should look at this immediately. At least the Education Secretary should. So in tradition of holding GCSEs and A-level exams in June should end because climate change means school halls are too hot for children to perform well, it was argued on Monday. So Baroness Brown, Chair of Adaptation for the UK Committee on Climate Change, said exams should be moved to cooler months. Her comments came after a Met Office report said extreme weather had become the new normal in Britain as a result of global warming. Yep, it has. Baroness Brown told the BBC Today programme that our children take the most important exams of their lives at the hottest time of the year, often in very hot school halls with very big plated glass windows. Why do we make them do that in June? Maybe we should move that to a different time of year when they would be more productive and be able to think better. We know that hot conditions affect people's performance and productivity. This is 100% true. But the thing is that what do you do? So are we looking at October? Are we looking at early spring, winter time? Like, are we switching it to February maybe instead? And then what do you do for the rest of that period then? Like, this is the thing. I mean, you're talking about a massive change here. So the Met Office experts have said that UK's climate is noticeably different from just a few decades ago, as the latest stage of the UK climate report shows the impact of human-caused global warming on the UK weather seas, people and wildlife. Mike Kendon, Met Office climate scientist and lead author of the report, said it's the extreme temperatures of rainfall that is changing the most. That is profound concern, and that's going to continue in the future. The report said that the last 3 years have been in the top 5 warmest on record for the UK, and it comes as the country experiences its third heat wave of the year so far. Last year was the 4th warmest on record, dating back to 1884, while the year that had the warmest May and the warmest spring on record, already beaten by 2025's record hot springs. Yep, we're already breaking records this year, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all, guys. Baroness Brown said we need to learn that these hot weather behaviours that you might see in the south of France, which would be that you would close your windows or shutters or curtains during the day, where the air outside is hotter than the air inside your house, and you open them at night. Yes, this is what I've already started doing. Whenever we hit 30 degrees, or it seems like we're going to be coming towards 30 degrees, curtains shut, windows shut, and we just block it out, because that's the only way you can do it. I don't know why they didn't use school rooms or build them to be cooler like we do. Yeah, the thing is that costs money, Joe. And they don't have the money for it. Like, the thing is, like, this sounds dumb, but I just think, like, the way they're probably going to do it is probably by getting a bunch of fans in. But then you've got the noise of the fans. That's not going to be good. So what are you going to do? Get a portable air conditioners to try and cool down the classroom? I think, like, I don't know, curtains and blinds on the windows would help keep the heat out of the rooms as well. Like, there are some methods you can do to keep the rooms a certain temperature, and I think keeping the you need like thick curtains for these halls so that they're able to keep the heat out. I mean, obviously every hall is different, and obviously it depends on the size and everything. They need to have a look at what options they can do to accommodate best in these situations. Every school building will obviously be different, but like everything, it all costs money as well for them. This is why I bring up the point about the supermarkets. Like, literally, you know, I know someone that works in a Sainsbury's supermarket, and she actually has to wear a fleece in the supermarket even during the heat. Do you know why? Because it's so damn cold in the supermarket. That's how much their use is. Our exam hall had lots of shuttered windows. They were open with long poles. The airflow triggered my hay fever, says Mithril. Once the concrete falls from the ceiling, that should improve the ventilation. Well, you don't want ventilation if it's above 30 degrees, because it's hotter outside than it'll be too hot outside. You don't want that humidity in there in the building, so you want to shut it out. When the temperatures reach a certain point, you don't want it in there. You don't want it in the room. We had different rooms in the high schools according to that time of the year, says Jao there. Alex Adams says, in my secondary year we had 5 different classes each year. We had to pile into huge gym halls Easter for adjudicators to oversee the exams. Yeah, the temperatures on this kind of thing is not an issue for you guys in Scotland, because you're not hitting these temperatures. You're not hitting them. You're not hitting as high as we are. But obviously, as temperatures continue to rise, you will feel it at some point. Offices have air conditioning, shopping malls have air conditioning. Why not compulsory for schools? The answer is always the same problem: money. That's the problem. Telling them you need to invest in them, telling the government you need to find money for this, they don't want to hear that. That's the problem. So that, I know it's not feasible for everybody. If you live on the ground floor flat in London, it might not be very safe to open your window at night. Where we need to try and adapt to those hot weather behaviours and making these hot weather changes our homes as well. So yeah, UK's highest daily temperature in 2025, we can see 1st of July, 25 to 35 degrees. I didn't feel that here. I felt particularly where exactly I was, it was above 30. We didn't hit 35 here. It must have been right central London, like central London. I'm on the outskirts of London, to be fair. I'm still inside the N25, but I'm on the outskirts there. Oh, sorry again. We do get the sun beating through the glass walls. Yeah, that's why they should have blinders. And I don't think the ones that schools have. I'm talking like ones like this, but a proper thick one, like that proper covers it, that stops the heat coming in at all, like thick ones like that. That's the kind of blinds. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Yeah, for these school halls. Yes, I know they come at a cost, but they need to have the area for them. Like I don't think it's right to move exams based on the temperatures, like, because it's just going to be a complete and absolute nightmare for teachers and how and the workload as well. I just don't think it's viable. I think the option needs to be is where you do the exams in, what room it is, whether it's in a big hall, whether it's in a small hall, whatever it might be. Or hell, you don't have to do it in a massive hall. You could do it in a classroom, but just do it like different groups at different times is what you could do as well. So you could have like one classroom does 20, and they have a certain time slot to do the exam in, and then the next day, the next set of kids do it in that classroom, and then rinse and repeat. Rather than them all doing it in one go in a massive hall, you could do it something like that in the classroom where the temperatures are really, really warm, but you've got in a smaller room, not in a big massive hall, but in a smaller classroom. You can actually adapt that room to be sufficient temperatures for them to be able to concentrate on the exams. So I do think there are ways of getting a bypass in this situation without having to move the exam dates. I do think there are ways we can get around it. So 1 year in Labour has been fiercely criticised over its approach to the environment, including concerns over planning reform, sidelining nature in pursuit of growth. Crosscurrents Peer said on Monday, this isn't going away, and this isn't just, we're having a lovely summer. This is real change that we need to respond to. And one of the things that we need to think a lot more in the UK is how best respond to heat. We are trying to persuade the government that we should have a heat strategy because heat affects everything. Yeah, I agree. I think we should definitely have a heat strategy. We need to be able to combat it in every aspect. You know, it's all well and good telling people to have bottles of water and make sure you've got this in the fridge and make sure your curtains are closed and the windows are open or closed or whatever, like all these things. But we need to have clear plans, and we need to have advertisement for this. You want advertisement on buses, on posters and boards saying this is the things you should be doing, and the government should be looking out plans of what they can do, not just for people at homes, people in places where they don't have air conditioning, because not everyone has air conditioning. Everyone should be looking at all sorts of options. So, after the report's publication, Energy Secretary Ed Miliband said Britain is a way of life under threat from climate change. I did see his speech, by the way. You can watch his speech on Politics Joe's YouTube channel. It was a very good speech from Ed Miliband. He said, whether extremely heat, droughts, flooding, we can see actually with our own eyes it's already happening. We need to act. That's why the government has a central mission to make Britain a clean energy superpower and tackle the climate crisis. Government spokesperson said climate change is a universal issue, so we are taking action to understand the potential impact on education so we can prevent disruption to learning. Part of our plan for change, our 10-year infrastructure strategy includes almost £20 billion into 2034 and 2025 to rebuild more schools across England. Are those schools going to have the sufficient things to deal with temperatures as well? There are further 250 schools to be selected from school rebuilding programs within the next 2 years. On top of more than 500 already selected, there will be schools for the future net zero carbon in operation designed to withstand future climate risk, including increasing summertime temperatures. Good. If they're going to be having adaptations for the heat, then that's perfect. And then what you should do then, obviously, is if you can't upgrade the schools that we have, then they need to be dismantled, and new schools need to go in their place to adapt to the temperatures. That, alongside the investment of almost £3 billion per year by 2034-2035 in capital maintenance and renewal to improve the conditions of the school and college estate there. Yeah, anything that will just help improve the temperatures, obviously, of them is really, really important. Shall I wrap my computer in a thick curtain to help it cool down in hot weather? Can send you the bill when it fries all the components for Reganelite. I didn't say anything about a computer, Mithril, but if you want to do that, go right ahead. Just for reference. I passed out in the office once when it got very sunny and hot. Talking about the heat makes me heat up, so I will cool off. You're right. You should cool off, and I will cool off too with this ice bottle I got out of the freezer. If you have bottles, guys, you know what you should do. Just put a couple of bottles in the freezer and rotate them. Rotate them if you can. That'd probably be a good thing to do as well, because I think we've got one or two more bottles still in there as well. Rotate them. Try my best to cool down. The best way to cool it down, Mithril, is to give it a drink and a hot tomato soup. Yeah, you could try that. Although it might get a bit messy. You could try that, trips. You could. Yeah, it's a good idea. Calm down. It's getting angry again. You know when it makes that, when my computer goes, you guys can't hear it, but it's like getting like, I can't handle this anymore. It's like it's not even that hot today. Like, and it's already complaining. Mind you, though, I do blame the heat. I blame the humidity that's in this room. Getting rid of it is near to next impossible, because obviously there's the heat always being generated from my computer, I'm afraid, guys. Did I not? Oh, I did. I didn't update the graphic here. Right, so I want to talk about this story here from the iPaper here. Next one I've got here. So we are disabled and we want to work, but the government support scheme is blocking us. Some campaigners and disabled people are saying failing to properly protect the access to work schemes will push people out of employment into poverty. This is really heartbreaking when you hear stories like this about people who generally want to work, who are working, and their way of life is being threatened simply because the government wants to make life more difficult for people on disabilities. Obviously, the most important thing is to try and help people as best as we possibly can, and give them the best opportunities to do something with their lives, especially those who are much more severely hampered with their lives. It's really, really tough for them. I've no idea what it's like for people like them who have disabilities and that are really severely cut back because of their reliance on the personal independent payments that they get from PIP, and the loops that you have to go through to earn those entitlements, because that's what they are. They are entitlements that people should be entitled to. But we know this government wants to change the system to make it even more difficult for people to claim entitlements at a time when there are still many people who are struggling right now, struggling to make ends meet, struggling to pay their bills. Labour supporters will argue, yeah, but they've raised the national minimum wage. Yes, they have raised the national minimum wage, but also everything else has gone up as well. Council tax, electricity has gone up, water bills, your broadband, pretty much everything that you can think of when you pay on average for your bills has gone up by some way, shape, or form. Has gone up. That has happened, and if bills weren't going up and wages were going up instead, to bridge the gap, people would be a lot happier. People would be a lot better off. But that's not what's happening here. It's really not. It needs to melt faster. The ice is not melting fast enough, guys. Maybe I could put this next to my computer, but I don't want to risk the computer anything happening to it. Folks, during the summer, I have one fan to me and one by my computer. Well, I've got two fans in this room, and at the moment, I'm only using one, and that's this nice little mini USB one here. I'll show you it just for reference. There's this little mini one here. I can't remember where I got it from, but it's just a little USB one. I mean, it's not. It just does enough. It just does enough, yeah, for me. And I hope it's not too noisy as well. I didn't use it while I was recording today, but I hope it's not too noisy when I play it. So let's dive into this, guy. So cutting back a scheme that offers grants to help disabled people into work will undermine the government's push for growth by locking them out of employment, ministers have been warned. Some campaigners and disabled people said failing to properly protect the access to work schemes at the same time as considering cuts to disability benefits elsewhere will push people into poverty with no way of accessing proper work. The government said it is reforming the grant to make it financially sustainable, as well as tracking delays and backlogs. But disability advocates have argued that the changes are being rushed through without proper consultation with those impacted. And we said this already. We said that they weren't consulting the people whose lives are being deeply affected more than anyone. That was the problem. Reports of people already seeing their entitlements has reduced has sparked fears the scheme is at risk, and the government says no reforms have been made yet, insisting any changes will be announced prior to implementation. Ministers are looking at the future of access to work as part of the planned reforms to employment support for disabled or sick people. The change will come alongside reforms to the universal credit health element for those out of work due to health conditions, and personal independent payments and benefit payment that will help with the cost of living and with a disability. Ministers had planned drastic cuts to both benefits, but these changes are now hanging in the balance after the government was forced to back down following from Labour MPs, and rightfully so. It was absolutely disgusting to even suggest it. We know that Morgan McSweeney is the one who needs to go on it. In the government's benefit reform policy paper, Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall said there is a stronger case for updating access to work as part of a package for reforms. The grant supports disabled people to move into employment by paying for workplace adjustments or travelling to work, support workers or specialist equipment. But he's currently only reaching around 1% of working disabled people, and a significant backlog in applications. In February 2025, there were 62,000 applicants outstanding. Also leads to severe delays in people accessing grants, the government has said. Campaigners are concerned that the government has also cited significant increases in expenditures in recent years. Without change of these trends, conditions of service will not be financially sustainable, and a consultation on the scheme said. So this is Rachel Parker from the Scottish Borders. It's the founder and chief executive of the Frag Me Pain Bakery and a social enterprise. She is autistic and has an eating disorder, and she uses access to work to pay for someone to help her with the day-to-day running of the business. When her award was up for renewal, she requested 40 support hours a week. During her assessment, she was not given the reasonable adjustments around communication she requested. No decision was given, and she has had to close the bakery down, she told the iPaper. Just right here, okay, you have somebody who has a bakery and trying to be an entrepreneur and be successful, and she has setbacks, yeah? She has setbacks, yeah. She has holdbacks, here. And her business has closed down because she's not been given the adjustments that the support here is in need. Absolutely terrible. This is absolutely terrible. How does this encourage people to be successful in life when you are holding them back here? Absolutely disgusting. Quote, the support is vital to every aspect of me being able to run the bakery. So I decided that what I wanted to do, and they facilitate the organisation and the prioritising and the executive function to make that possible. That's how I've been able to secure the many successes that we've had. I've been unable to resume the bakery production side of things, and that removed my ability from the business to earn its income. I work for myself. I set up my own business because working for other people didn't work, and I thought this was the answer to my independence and financial security. If this can be taken away just like that, what future do I have? Access to work has been co-designed with disabled people, making it actually work for the disabled people, and it's intended to support, enabling us to create innovation and enterprise. I think we should move away from being seen as a welfare benefit and as a stigma that is associated with that. And I recognise that the real value has as an investment in our economy, in our communities. A way of doing that would be if access to work was moved to the Department of Business and Trade as discretionary reward, not a benefit. 100%. She couldn't have said it better there. She could not have said it better there. We should be awarding people who are trying to be entrepreneurs and businesses and trying to be successful here. But instead, we're treating it as she says there, as a welfare benefit. In this situation here, this is a great example of somebody who's trying to be successful, but they're being held back here because they don't want to give them the money that they need. Dave McGinnis, good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well. It's still not melting fast enough, guys. I need more water. Need more water. Damn ice. I need it to melt faster. Leaked documents reported in the Disability News Service suggested the government is looking to scale back the range of equipment funded and introduce caps on hourly rate paid to support workers, as well as restricting what jobs they can carry out. So Dr. Shangi Dalla, mispronounced the name, I know, a disability advocate who has accused the government of seeking to scale back eligibility for access to work without properly engaging with those impacted. This is, again, this is the thing that really, excuse my French, but it fucking pisses me off that the government thought they could do this without consulting the very people that they were literally going to fuck, with this. And it's just pisses me off so much. Them, and as Dave McGinnis has made in these rants on the Two Davies channel about the worst, one of the worst things this Labour government is doing is ignoring what's happening in the Middle East. But this is just as horrific because they want to because of the fact that they were doing this, they wanted to do this, and they were going to go ahead with this, and they never even bothered to talk to the very people that they were cutting the legs out of. I mean, it's just so disgusting. Like, this is something that you would expect conservatives would do. This is something that you would expect the Reform to do, because that's how low and vile that they are. But this is not something that you would expect from a Labour government. And still, I just cannot believe that they had the audacity to try and do this without even consulting the very people that they were going to get hurt. It really does boil my blood when I think about it. Because and the thing is, and the worst part about it is, the worst part about it is how much stress, anxiety, and panic that so many people got into because of the government's decision on this. Because the government were definitely going ahead with this. They never thought to consult the very people that were going to be on, and they never were clear cut about what they were doing either. They weren't clear cut about it. So you had, for a long period, you had people suffering. You probably had people, and I hate to say this, guys, you probably had some people self-harming and some people doing worse to themselves because they felt that their lives were going to be destroyed by the Labour government. Quote, I welcome reforms of the scheme because that is what we needed, but not what the DWP is proposing. They want to reduce eligibility conditions and the type of support provided, she said. That will only result in more disabled people who can and want to work, who are unable because of the DWP, and at a time when the government is saying its key priority is getting more disabled people into work. And they're doing the exact opposite, because literally we just read this story here about how her story's gone. How is this, just read her story. Dr. Dohana said members of her Access to Work collective campaign has been reporting their entitlements being cut since 2024, sparking fears the scheme itself is at risk. You have a community of over 3,000 people telling us the same story. Their awards have been drastically reduced or cut altogether, she said. What is this? She argued the government's Pathway to Work Green Paper had already introduced major funding cuts and said the next phase of reforms proposed the removal of several key types of support altogether. If enacted, this would effectively strip Access to Work of its abilities to meet the needs of the vast majority of disabled workers, she said. Dr. Amy Callard, 35, is a blind disability activist and accessibility professional. Through her work, she travels around the country advertising business such as transportation providers and museums on the needs of disabled customers. Access to Work helps with the cost of support workers who travel with her. She recently renewed her grant, but has been left waiting 6 months for a sign-off on additional funding to pay for the higher minimum wage required for her to support workers, a wage change introduced by the government. She told the iPaper, I'm very concerned about the proposed cuts and changes, but also the system is not currently fit for purpose. There are significant delays for people who are applying for the first time. Renewing any piece of paperwork can take months, and sometimes that is supposed to empower disabled people to work and actually become is actually becoming an obstacle to getting into employment or maintaining your employment status. Dr. Kalafich is concerned that the consultation was brief, and says she fears a reform scheme will not be properly co-designed with disabled people. Yeah, because they're not treating it from a humanitarian point of view. They're looking at it like a business. They're looking at this from a business point of view. Oh, how can we save money here? And while completely ignoring the humanitarian side of this. This is the humanity side of this is the thing that is not being looked into when we are talking about this thing. I have a support worker and support with travel, she explains. One of the proposed cuts is to take away support workers, and this would massively reduce my capacity to work. I would be stuck working at home, and it would also mean that my support worker would lose a job. This is what it means. This is what it means by cutting. So it reduces my earnings and my ability to pay taxes, and it takes an employed person and a taxpayer out of the work market. If you take away access to work, money into that local economy, and it takes away someone's job, how is that investing in Britain's future? She argued it is illogical for the government to press ahead with the changes without a clear picture of what PIP support will also be cut and how many interact with access to work. There's lots of people who rely on travel costs being covered in or out of work, and with the links of something like PIP being cut, she said, something PIP allows us is to purchase or have less of an accessible car. So they lose their PIP and they lose their accessible car, then they need more access to work funding to cover the cost of the travel. So this is a very disjointed approach and is really recognising what disabled people really needs are. Yeah, you cut away from one thing, and then it's like, oh well, you know, now I need to take a different thing. Ministers should pause the reforms and properly engage with those who rely on it to create a picture of what should change, she said. DWP spokesperson said despite employing additional staff and re-streamlining our procedures, the number of access to work applications waiting to be processed is continuing to grow, which is why we set out our pathway to work green paper. We consulted on the future of access to work, on how to improve the program and help more disabled people to work and support employers. We will be reviewing all aspects of the scheme in the consultation to be clear, and now that the consultation is closed, we'll be developing future policy in collaboration with disabled people. You're saying collaboration with disabled people. Are you actually bringing them around the table and actually discussing them? Are you actually bringing them around the table and actually discussing them? Because you weren't before. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. It really, really is. Absolute joke. Absolute bloody joke, guys. People being moved over to Universal Credit are already being battered £50 a week less. Says Stephen Banker. If you rent from a housing association, then they may have one. Can't go out anxiety, says Ellie. Private landlord. I'm sorry, Ellie. Don't know how to do that either. What's the situation? I feel I'm gonna get screwed over by both. I don't know how to deal with it. My rent's increased and they have decided not to raise my housing benefit. Can challenge it because I don't know how to, and I have no time because I've got mitigation to do with the time limit. Also don't know how. Yes, you need to speak to a welfare rights officer if you can. No, there must be somebody you can talk to on this. Ellie, I know you're on Discord. If anybody can steer her in the right direction on steer in the right direction, please do. There's got to be something that can be done. Like they can't just allow it to happen to you. Mr. E, it's good to see you there. They can do that over the home phone or home visit. Yeah, something needs to be done there. There needs to be something done there. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm assuming you've spoken to your landlord and spoken to them about the situation, and they just don't care. Is that like, have you spoken to your landlord about the situation? I don't know if you have or not. I don't know if you don't have to share it if you don't want to. It's fine. Honestly, you don't have to share it, Ellie. If you don't want to. I'm okay. There's gonna don't give up, Ellie. Keep looking for answers. Yeah, the internet is a tool. The internet is a tool. It will help you. You're not a burden. Don't be silly. Don't say silly things like that. Don't say silly things like that. Yeah, help the internet. The internet is your help. That's what you need to do. You need to find. There are always solutions. There are solutions. It's just a case of just trying to find it. Okay. I'm really sorry about your situation. I really am. If someone can provide any links that can help her, please help Ellie. Sorry, please do. I really appreciate you guys. Sorry. No one is a burden. No, you're right. And I've been in that dark hole as well. I've been in that dark hole, so I know what it's like to be in that hole where you feel like you feel like shit. I've been down that road. I've spoken with it on this channel. People who've been with me on those mental health live streams know what I'm talking about. I felt that too. So don't think you're the only one who's been in that situation. You just need to find a way out of it. So Nigel Farage said he wants to scrap the 2-child benefit cap, but there's something he's not telling you. This is from Byline Times. The reform leader needs to be reminded whose idea it was to push hundreds of thousands of children into poverty in the first place, writes Josh from Iowa. So let me read a bit more into this before go any further. So Nigel Farage has been making headlines recently by calling for the two-child benefit cap to be scrapped. The limit introduced by the Conservative government under David Cameron in 2017 restricts support in the universal credit and tax credit to 2 children in a family. Once families grow above this level, they get no additional support. It effectively penalises children for coming from larger families and has been blamed for pushing hundreds of thousands of them into poverty. Prime Minister Keir Starmer is under major pressure from his own MPs to ditch the limit. The problem is that while we obviously believe that the two-child benefit cap is a terrible thing and must be removed, the problem is still, according to YouGov polls, it's still more popular, and that's because of the likes of Benefit Britain and other programs, TV programs that's given indulge into this mindset that people are lounging around with loads of cars and phones and whatnot and getting free money from the government, which is not what's happening. But that picture has been painted in front of the minds of the British public when they think about universal credit and tax credits and whatnot. Cameron's policy didn't emerge in a vacuum. In 2015, one party demanded benefits be limited to 2 children. He proposed supporting a lower cap on benefits and more specifically limited child benefits to 2 children for new claimants. The party was the UK's independent party led by one Nigel Farage. This is the same Nigel Farage who said he wanted to introduce it and now is saying he wants to scrap it. The idea had been promised in 2014 by the right-wing Policy Exchange think tank, which called for a stop for extra benefits for children and boasted at that time. Many proposals by Policy Exchange by a group including ministers Michael Gove, Francis Mould and Nick Bowles found their way into Conservative manifestos in the past. The electoral pressure of UKIP on David Cameron as well as the deep blue roots of Policy Exchange was all for hugger-hooly rhetoric very significant. UKIP were polling around 12%, enough to block Conservative chances in dozens of seats. Cameron also in the same election adopted a UKIP policy of pledging a referendum on Britain's membership of the European Union. As my colleague Adam Bienkov has noted, it was barely picked up on at the time, but it led to most profiled and liked permanent changes to Britain's constitution in half a century. That 2015 Conservative manifesto pledged to eliminate child poverty while also cutting and freezing certain benefits. The two aims were contradictory, and by the end of the Cameron's term in 2019, the Child Poverty Action Group found that in the space of 2 years, an estimated 160,000 families have been affected by the 2-child limit due to limit to date. The majority of working families, the majority had just 3 children. Yeah, this is the UKIP manifesto push to limit child benefit for new claimants, a policy lifted by David Cameron in Parliament. This is it. Want to see a welfare system that is fairer, one that firmly opposes the benefit lifestyle which has produced unjust outcomes. A common sense approach to benefit including support a lower cap on benefits, cracking down on benefit fraud, ending welfare tourism, stopping child benefit from being paid to children who don't live in the UK, limited child benefit for 2 children for new claimants, the 2-child benefit cap. Reform leader, now an MP trying to dig the boot into the Labour government, said he wants to make it easier for people to have children, having seemingly had a change of heart on what is effectively his own policy. Farage arguably pivoted back for a 2-child limit in 2015 and now mostly forgotten in political coverage. Although Farage did tell Sky News that what's changed his mind on the policy since 2014 is the cost of living and a need for British-born babies and not, as the interview suggested, mere shameless opportunism. Paul Nurek, the TUG General's Secretary General, told Ballantynes that the about turn was yet more proof that Nigel Farage is a political fraud. Farage cosplayed as a champion of the working class but was the architect of a policy that pushed hundreds of thousands of children into poverty. The Union Confederation chief added, make no mistake, Farage is not on the side of working people or of families struggling to put food on the table for their children. He's on the side of billionaires and bad bosses. And he is. He's a charlatan. That's what he is. He doesn't want to scrap the 2-child benefit cap. He's just saying it just to get voters in. This is the guy that won. This is the guy under UKIP. And there was only one, he said it there. Benefit lifestyle is an oxymoron. Ali, I cannot stress this enough. It's really important that you go out and get fresh air as much as you possibly can, even if it's just a walk to the shops, even if it's just a walk to the park. Staying inside all the time is not good for your health. And my partner's nan, the reason she's no longer here, do you know why she's no longer here? It's not because, well, it is in part because of COVID and the damage it had psychologically to her. But the problem is that after COVID, she refused to go outside. She refused to go outside, and it was very, very rare that we got her outside. But very, very rare. But she would never go outside. She would always stay inside. And then even when she had medical issues and she needed to see doctors and whatnot, she was stubbornly wouldn't go to doctors and whatnot, because again, she didn't want to go outside. She didn't want to step into the real world because of like her franticness about COVID, and it was consuming her. Because of all these things, it got to her. Eventually it led to a point where she was getting really bad, and she's no longer here. And I wouldn't say it's directly. I don't want to go into the details of it. This was this is quite a few years ago now, guys. But the point I'm trying to make here, Ellie, is that you know, stepping outside is really, really important. I can't stress that enough. As a trans, going out ain't good for my health. It's not good for your health staying indoors all the time. I can't stress this enough. You need to step outside. I know it can be uncomfortable, but it's not just from a health point of view, it's from a mental point of view. Mentally, it will be better for you. Just step outside, feel that fresh air. I can't stress that enough. Staying inside all the time is not good for you. It is not good for you. I really do encourage to try and at least go out once a day at least. Even if it's just you can do it in steps. You don't even have to do it. You don't have to do it like, even if it's in steps. Just do like a one walk. Go out or walk around the block and then come straight back. Something like that. And then then just do it again and keep doing a walk around the block. Come out of your hut. Come out of your property. Do a walk around the block and do that. That is a step. And then just keep doing that once a day. Just one walk around the block. Step outside, one walk around the block. Just start slow and build yourself up. One little thing. But don't feel like don't feel like it's the end of the world. It's not. Okay, there's always a way. There is always a way. And it's not just our community here. You know, there's so many wonderful communities that will want to help you here. My community, Dave McGuinness's community, the Two Davies community there, of course, Bob Spears community, Graham Hughes Politics Social community there. No, we want to help as much as we possibly can. I've been this way for 5 years, mental fatigue and nothing in the tank. You've just got to if you don't try, you've got to try, Ellie. Yeah? You've got to try. You've got to try. I know it's hard, but you've got to try it. And you matter. Everyone matters. No matter how big or how small you are in life, everyone matters. Yeah. You're gonna do it tomorrow, Ellie. Yeah, because and tomorrow's actually a very good time to do it. And you want to know why tomorrow's a very good time for you to do that step around the blocks? Because the temperatures are going to be very low tomorrow. There might be a few showers, but it's going to be a very low temperature. So the heat ain't going to be a reason for you to stay inside. So you can do one tomorrow. And all right, you can do it. And when you do it, and when you go back in, it is a sense of achievement because you did something that you didn't want to do, you weren't comfortable with, but you actually had the courage to do it. And it's all about taking first steps. Just take the first step, Ellie. You can do it. You just sometimes we have to push ourselves to doing things that we don't want to do. And I know that full-heartedly. Don't you dare go hollow. Yeah, of course. So, just you need that fresh air. That fresh air is a massive difference. It's really, really important. So, Let's put a smile on her face and put a smile on the rest of your faces, guys, with a funny video. Have you ever heard of a Guinness cake? Have you ever heard of a Guinness cake, guys? No? You've heard of a Guinness, right? You've heard of a Guinness. Yeah, I've never heard of a Guinness cake, but apparently this is such a thing. And, yes, I know this is an old video, but apparently Garen was absolutely fucking furious with this. Well, I think he was anyway. Anyway, let's hear how Garen felt about the Guinness cake. Cake.
Excuse me, UK, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is that?
Oh, it's a milkshake. My bad.
A Guinness fucking milkshake. Get off my land. This is a direct act of aggression on the Irish people. What in the fuck is this?
That doesn't look too bad. I could have that. I mean, look at that. That looks tasty. Like, here's the thing. Like, how do you... If you don't try it, you don't know. Garen, you got to try it before you know. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Why is there a fucking cake on it? What is this? It looks like it has worms. Does anybody have a phone number for the UN? Surely this triggers Article 5 of fucking NATO. What's the point of even having NATO if we're gonna fucking let people away with everything? Can we stop coming up with fucking desserts? There's too many. We had ice cream cake and pies and that was plenty. 50 fucking desserts bombarding me everywhere I go. I was in a restaurant 2 weeks ago and I still have option paralysis about the dessert. I have to go back in and tell them what I want. It needs to fucking stop. You should only legally be allowed to put 2 desserts on the menu. One of them is clearly shite and the other one looks absolutely lovely. I don't have enough hours in the day to be fucking picking desserts all the time. This is evil. Follow me. I'm delicious.
It's not evil. I'm not calling it evil. It's ridiculous to call it an evil. I'll be seeing my mum tomorrow, but that's going from one safe place to another. That's good. That's good, Ellie, because that's good. That's very good to hear. That's good. You're stepping out of your house at least. Yeah, that's good. There you go. Good step. You're going. Are you walking there? I hope you're walking there. I'll be driving, so no interaction with people. Oh, you should at least try. Why? Oh, suggestion. Why don't you try a walk at your mum's with your mum, if possible? Why not try that? Give that a try. Maybe try doing that. Don't beat yourself up, Ellie. Stop beating yourself up. Yeah. You need to come out of your shell. Yeah, it's really, really important. Stop at a cafe, get a drink, book a shell. I don't think you can get Ellie to a cafe. Might not be pushing it. I think just like you just need to I really sincerely mean this. Okay, honestly, Ellie, please, like, just try going for a walk around the block. Yeah, please try and do that. If you can go around the block with your mum, that would be even more preferable. But please don't just hob yourself away. It's not good for you. Yeah. And that's a long. 35 years is a long time, of course. There's never too late to change. It's never too late to change. You know, people have had their lives turned around. People have been through some of the worst things in their lives, been down in the dumpsters, and their life can change. People are unpredictable. I can't handle it. Hyper-vigilant. Well, just take precautions. That's what you do. You take precautions. Yeah. I'll give you an example, right? So one of the things that I tend to do when I go for my walks, right? One of the things that I don't like doing is I don't like walking when I walk people. I don't like walking past people. If I can, I sometimes try to cross the road so that I don't cross paths with them. Try doing that. Like, if you do the walk and just try to go around, try doing that and see if that helps anyway. If you can. As much as I want to continue to talk, I really want to continue to talk, guys. I do have to end the live stream, guys, because we are out of time here. Thank you for the £5 super chat, Alston Key. I really appreciate that. today. Thank you for being here. I want to say thank you guys for all being here. Thank you guys for all your comments. Ellie, please stay in touch with our community. Please stay in touch with if you can join. If you can come and join the Dave McGuinness's community when he goes live at 10:30 as well, because people on there will help us just as much as we will try to help. It's okay. We'll keep the talk, keep the chatter going. We'll keep the chatter going. But do consider talking to other communities. All right, please do. It's really, really important. Okay. We'll continue the conversation. All right. But yeah, we appreciate you being here, just like I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being opening it up, just like I appreciate everybody here being here. And remember, you might think you're the only one, but you're not. There's a lot of people here who have the same story, who have some stories, who have stories as well. So don't think you're the only one. I can assure you, you are not the only one. I've heard much, just as bad stories. So don't feel you're alone. Okay. Honestly, if you want to join our Discord, if you're on the Discord, feel free to chat on Discord if you're there as well. I know, so I'm not I can't remember, I can't recall if you are on our Discord community, but also Magmonk has a community as well, has a Discord community as well. So if you want to join that one, you can do as well. If someone could put a link to that community as well. So there's plenty of people you can talk to as well. Thanks everybody for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. We're going to be heading out now, but I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So if you guys want to join me for another good morning show, please feel free to do so. Really didn't really get much feedback from you guys about the new layouts, so I'm assuming they're okay. So yeah, we'll stick with them and see how they go anyway, guys. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening, whatever you guys are doing. Please drink plenty of fluids, stay hydrated, keep yourself entertained, try and stay positive, because it's really important that we always try to maintain positivity whenever we possibly can, because like I say, if there's that's why I do the good news, good vibe stories, guys, because to remind ourselves that there are good people in this world. It's really, really important. We're all here for you. Once I'm functionally, we'll come down and visit Smith for. Yeah, that's right. What a way to put it. Absolutely well said. Mr. E, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Thank you so much for that late super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, guys. Thank you guys all for coming. If you can, please hit the like button on your way out. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you can, just share this live stream across social media. It'd be greatly appreciated as well. If you want to leave some comments after the live stream in the chat box, after, feel free let me know some feedback as well. If you guys want to see any amendments or changes as well, let me know as well. But thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.